Welcome to the Dumb Idea Podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video or podcast on any platform that you're listening on. Please visit us at www.dumbideapodcast.com. All right, welcome back to another show. I want to thank Port Tech Limited Wine and Spirits, 1264 Baydale Drive in Arnold, Maryland. 21012. You can call them at 410-974-0800. Make sure they have what you want in stock. They have a lot of selection in that store, especially in the spirits part. They have that huge wall of all types of liquor, and it looks great. But my stomach says no. It tells me to go to the beer fridge and go over there.
Speaking of which, they have a bunch of craft brews too.
They do.
So I think it's like, what is it? 12 doors or something like that.
It's something like that. It's a lot of rows of like the higher, I guess you could say, quality beer, the craft brews.
Yeah.
Then
they also have Busch Latte.
They have your favorites.
Tonight. So
Mike's drinking the Busch Light after we did our after the Busch did so well in the comparison.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab a Molson later, which they also have. But thank you to them for sponsoring the show. We'll make sure to get their information in later as well. We've got Mike and Josh. Josh, you might remember him from our other beer episodes. Not a beer episode tonight, but he'll have some good talking points. He'll have some good talking points on this episode. Because we're going to talk about... It's going to be a few things, but mostly we're going to talk about... unruly sports parents, but generally just horrible behavior at sporting events in general. Not necessarily just on the youth level, but lately, I want to say it was about 2 days ago, there was an incident was it Boston? It was Boston against Cleveland, I believe.
No, it was New York.
It was New York. It was the Yankees. Sorry, Boston.
Mm-hmm. But usually it is Boston.
Normally it's, you can see why I make that mistake. So the Yankees fans apparently, let's put it this way. So Terry Francona, the Guardians manager, and I'm going to throw up in my mouth for saying the word Guardians instead of the Cleveland Indians. Terry Francona goes out, see how his player's doing, and I believe left field. Checks on him, guy's all right, whatever. But the fans are just being completely obnoxious, yelling at the players and whatnot. And I get it. That's what, you pay for a seat. You're allowed to talk and whatnot. Some would say the fans went a little too far.
Not everyone says that.
I'm just saying some. Some would say it, which is why we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. And pissed off one of the players enough, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he eventually climbed the fence and... basically, in use of choice words, he basically said, "Hit me, MFer," to the fan. Now, nothing ended up happening, but I guess some of the fans threw stuff on the player. Player then later says that he was defending his teammate. We have some pretty clear audio, though. I didn't hear any kind of racial stuff being thrown at the guy. Although it could have been, I don't know, there was like a little kind of a sound deadening at one point right before the guy jumped up. I'll open it up now. But I think I heard the audio and the guy's just saying, "You're mad, you're mad." Like he's like a car alarm at that point. Yeah. And this is a grown adult acting like my 3 to 5 year old would, just to annoy the older brother or sister, right? It's just like, dude, I get it, you're drunk, but you forgot what living in the real world is like. You might get smacked up if you decide to get mouthy, right?
Yeah, well, first from watching the videos, and this goes in general for all videos, and I want to put this out there as a public service announcement. You can either participate or you can record it. You can't do both. So for all these people who are the bad videos where it's like some in, some out, just take a step back and record it. Get a good shot, or don't do anything. Mm-hmm. But they seem to love, and it's just, next thing it's the sky, it's the field, it's their own elbow, and then you miss anything good. So either participate or film, but you can't do both.
So here's my take on it, and it's a little bit of a hot take. Obviously, these fans were chirping this guy for most of the game. This didn't just start, and then the guy gets hurt. They start chirping him louder, and this guy, Miles Straw, right, a household name. I'm sure everyone out there knows Miles Straw of the Cleveland Guardians.
I certainly did.
Yeah, right. He allows these fans to get under his skin, and you're a professional athlete, right? Whether you like it or not, fans are they're there to support their team, and they're going to do whatever they can to give their team an advantage, whether that's get under the skin of another player or what have you. So they're chirping this guy. Well, this Miles Straw guy decides that he's going to pull a Ron Artest, and he climbs the wall to get into the face of these fans, and then is basically egging them on to hit him, right? So, first, what are you doing?
Right.
What's going on with that? So then he jumps down, right? And then the rest of the game happens, and I'm sure there was still more chirping going on, and that's when the fans decided, well, what's our recourse, right? We're going to throw garbage.
Recourse for what, though? Coming up there and saying, hit me? There's no recourse for that. I mean,
they're in the bleachers, right? It's not great seats, right? So they're probably out there and getting hammered, right? Probably alcohol involved in all this. So, yeah, I'm not saying it was the right decision to throw stuff. I'm just saying if Miles Straw doesn't climb that wall and basically ask to be hit, I don't think the Yankees fans throw stuff out on the field.
Here, my take on this is, and maybe it's just because of me, I don't go to these games and berate players. Like, I'm not there to get under a player's skin. Will I boo? Sure.
Have you tried it?
Booing?
No.
Getting under a player's skin? Mm-hmm. No. I see no point in it. Like, I don't do that in real life. You know what I mean?
I have a buddy who goes to games, and that's his expressed intent. And he has been kicked out of Nats Park, Camden Yards, was now Capital One Arena, PNC Park in Pittsburgh. We were even at a Bowie Bay Sox game, and the umpire, the third base umpire, looked up and told him to shut up. So yeah, and when we were at Camden Yards, he got kicked out. I had just gotten there, and another dude that we were with said, "Hey man, come on, they're kicking our friend out." I was like, "Dude, I just got here. See ya." Right. And then he proceeds to get kicked out of pickles and sliders. So,
some would say he's just a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
A loud dick.
At that point, you're just an ass.
But I think there are people that go to these games and they want to see, what they can get. And, I mean, I've watched games where I knew you can hear him. He's the guy you can hear on the
telecast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always that, especially baseball picks it up great. Hockey, not so much. Football, there's too many people and the field's too big. But baseball really seems to pick it up.
Right.
So, hear me out. In my mind, and this is no offense to your friend, but it's going to be offensive. Those types of guys are just fucking pussies. Because hear me out. Because if they go to the bar and they talk shit to a random dude, there's definitely a chance you're going to get your face punched in. You do it at a sporting event, the athletes are going to be much more restrained than John Doe because they've got a lot more on the line than this guy.
Not Miles Straw, though.
One guy in baseball? Maybe Malice at the Palace? I mean, you're talking about rare events when an athlete will actually go and retaliate against a fan for something they said, even if they got under their skin, because they know the ramifications of it are awful. That same guy in the stands says the same stuff to a regular Joe, going to get punched in the face. And you brought up the greatest example that we have that's recent. The guy that was getting up on Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And then Mike Tyson knocked him out. That's the difference. Like, that dude thought Mike was in the ring and he could heckle him because he paid his money for a seat. Oh, no, Mike said. I'm going to knock this dude out because we're on a plane and I'm a citizen.
Yeah.
Peace, homie.
He effed around and found out.
Yeah. But see, baseball is a little bit different.
No, dude. It's about being a human being.
No, because hear me out. So when you go to a Ravens game or any football game, It's third down. They're deep in their zone. So what do the fans do? Right? They get as loud as they can, right? Because they're trying to disrupt. They're trying to affect the outcome of the game, right? They're trying to help their team, right? Hockey, you're a little bit closer to and you can't heckle a player from an NFL football stadium. You just can't. It's too loud. There's too much going on. But a baseball,
and you're too far away from those.
Baseball, you are literally, a stone throw or a piece of garbage throws away from these players. You can literally have conversation with these players because baseball's slow, it's quiet, it's just not the same. So these fans are essentially doing the same thing. They are trying to affect the outcome of the game. They're chirping this guy in the outfield, hoping that maybe if a ball gets hit to him, he's going to get flustered, maybe drop it, and he couldn't take it. This is the cost of admission for a pro athlete. Like, you're going to get...
I don't agree.
Heckled.
I don't agree.
Wow.
Especially because we only got that soundbite. What if there was other things said before that weren't as polite? And don't get me wrong, I mean, we don't even know the full extent as to what was said to begin with. But to me, it's like, that's not the cost of admission. That's just a human being a dickhead.
Now, would you have been okay if the fan punched him in the face?
No.
No? Even though he climbed the wall and was asking for it?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I don't think the athletes should be going up and talking. Like, some of the athletes like to talk to the fans, right? Like, the fans are giving to them, like, they're talking back and forth. Like, I've seen that before. And I think the athletes, you don't win in that situation, and you're the one with something to lose.
So what should the fans say to the opposing players? Like, good job.
So look at it in football. A crowd booing and getting loud still disrupts the offense, even though no slurs or words are said about someone's mother or whatever. The effect is the same.
So what's the difference between a boo and someone's "you suck"?
You suck. I mean, I think it's more personal. I'm not opposed to "you suck" though.
Now we're getting into feelings.
I'm not opposed to "you suck," but
where do you draw the line?
People, I mean, I don't know what's over the line. I mean, I guess if you talk about someone personally, like some of these people go with like information about the player's family members and stuff, and they go in on them. The other part, I mean, throwing stuff on the field. Come on, don't be that guy.
Well, that'll just get you kicked out. Yeah, but the thing is, heckling and stuff usually. Well, my buddy got kicked out for heckling, but it was mainly because the other fans around him were tired of him and went and grabbed the security, and then the police came down and was like, all right, dude, you got to go. But here's the thing, like, so we don't know what was said, and the thing is, what's his name? Straw?
Yeah, Straw.
Miles Straw.
Can we just call him that guy?
Yeah, that dude.
We don't know who he is.
Like, he wasn't
we know who he is.
He wasn't the original player that they were heckling. It was one of his teammates who looked to be, whether he was black or Hispanic, wasn't racial. And the thing is, at that point, can someone jump in? Like,
oh, brother.
But here's the thing. So, Devontae Smith-Pelly, in 2018, the Capitals were destroying the Blackhawks. I think the score was like 7-1. And that was our cup year, too.
Good point.
Devontae Smith-Pelly is in the penalty box, and Blackhawks fans started shouting basketball at him. And the off-ice official that was in the box with Pelly identified the four fans, and the Blackhawks, at United Center, the Blackhawks staff kicked him out.
Just because they were saying the word basketball.
Yeah, but
everyone knows exactly what they were referencing. Devontae, for those of you who don't know, Devontae Smith-Pelly was a black guy that played for the Capitals. So they kicked him out. Now, at that point, at what point? So Mike Tyson is not. This guy keeps going after him. People say, "Oh, Mike Tyson shouldn't have done that." Really? But anyone else would have been like, "Oh yeah, dude got what he deserved." So at what point do you cross the line? And I think that's the thing where
sticks and stones.
No, man. Look, as guys, what are you taught? You listen. It's fair game at that point. If you want to get up in someone's face, like Mike said, you F around and find out.
These Yankees fans were not in the face of the Guardians players until the Guardians player climbed the wall.
You're right there.
You don't got to be in the face of them.
Well, that's what you said.
But again, we don't know what was said long before that video started. Just, I mean, listen. Why? I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this. Adam Jones, who was a long-time Oriole, played in the outfield. Mm-hmm. And again, I can't corroborate any of it. I wasn't there. He said you'd be surprised at what people said to him in outfields across Major League Baseball. Of course, you got to have thick skin as an athlete. But I guess my thing is, as a fan, why are you going down that road to begin with? You paid money to see baseball, right? If you paid money to go piss on somebody, you could get that for free at the pub.
Not everyone does.
Go to Pickles and go pick a fight.
Mike's friend goes to the games specifically to cause trouble, right? And Miles Straw, all 5'10" of him, I think has just little man. Yeah. Has little man syndrome, right? Like
well, all the games
5'10" taller than me.
Okay.
Probably got more muscles than me too.
All the games I've been to with my buddy, he's never gotten a reaction from a player. And I've seen videos where sometimes the interaction between fans and players are funny, even opposing fans and players. And the thing is like that, but then it could easily transition to what you saw. Now I agree with Josh where, the player is the one that took it over the line when he jumped up and started. Dude, ignore it. Be a professional. You can't tell me that's the first time you've ever been heckled.
Yeah, that's why I think something else was said before then, because from what we heard,
it's real easy to say that.
From what we heard, was it annoying? Yes. Like if I was sitting next to that guy as a fan, I'd want to punch him. But I'm also not a player that can lose a couple mil, right? Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different story. Plus, like, it sounded like from the interview he did after the game, it sounded like something else was said to his teammate that went over the line. And it might just not have been picked. I don't know. I don't know because I wasn't there. I don't think he should have gone in the stands. Yeah, you kind of got to bite the bullet and take your lumps and move on. I get that too.
Besides him climbing, let's walk it back. Take out the fact that he climbed the wall. Do you think that chirping that was clearly going back and forth, do you think that's commonplace?
Absolutely, yeah. It happens in baseball.
Almost every day.
Sometimes,
every game.
Sometimes.
I think often. I think it's more often than not, but it's not every game.
I also think it depends on where you are.
Some stadiums don't have any fans. So there's probably not a lot of...
At Oriole Stadium?
Yeah, there's not. There's not.
And it also depends on how some of these stands are, these stadiums are designed. So like...
Toronto, you're not...
Yeah. Right. Or look at Houston that has the train tracks and the guard and all this. There's really much nothing at center field there. Mm-hmm. Some of them have the dugouts. Now, I've seen some interesting exchanges between relievers, the bullpen.
Yes,
and these
is
guys.
Because all the stuff I've heard from bullpens is generally pretty mild and actually kind of funny. Like those are the ones I end up finding very comical because those players are there almost the entire game.
Yeah.
And they're BSing with the fans. I don't really hear it that bad out there.
Yeah,
it's the outfielders that I usually get it.
Yeah, the bullpen comment because I went to a Nats game where we sat directly, right. It was the Orioles bullpen or the visiting team's bullpen. They're playing the Orioles, and then there's the rail, and I'm looking directly down into the bullpen. And Nats fans are talking to the Orioles and the players, and they're warming up, and it was weird because when the players were warming up, when the pitchers were warming up, no one was talking to them. They're letting them do their thing. So maybe I think it also has to depend on the city, and the class of fans. Now look at a place like Philadelphia. Okay, Philadelphia and Boston are known for having probably the most classless fans on the planet. I mean, there's Eagles Court for crying out loud.
They booed Santa Claus.
Yes,
batteries.
Yeah, they put the covers over the entranceway so the fans wouldn't pour beer on the flyers.
Right.
So they're Boston fans are awful.
I feel like you don't hear about that like St. Louis though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess not. But if we're saying that happens semi-often, right? Mm-hmm. Yet we don't have situations where trash and debris is being thrown on the field very often, right? Not as often, right? So what's the difference here? What's the catalyst? And it's the player, climbing the wall, engaging the fans, and igniting that fire.
So you're saying the player escalated it?
Absolutely. Doesn't condone the fans throwing stuff out. But if Miles Straw, I'm going to keep saying his name so everyone knows it. if he doesn't climb that wall, right, he could turn and maybe chirp back to him because clearly it was going on all afternoon or evening or whatever. Like if he doesn't climb that wall, this is non-story. We don't even hear about this because the fans they overreacted and they just what can we do? They can't jump out on the field, so they're going to throw.
I think you also have
they're just not stupid enough to do it.
Yeah,
right.
But I think you also have a thing where if the players don't react at all to them, they stop because it stops being fun.
Do they though?
It's like a bully. It's like a bully.
You get like these guys. Here's the thing: the guys in that video with the audio, they weren't stopping and they weren't looking at them for a majority of that video, and they didn't stop. They just kept going. It's like I think there are some people there that just like to agitate because they've got crappy lives, and they're just sad human beings.
I don't go to games with that. But I don't yell and scream.
Neither do I.
I go to a hockey game. I'm probably the most boring person because I sit there and I watch the game.
I want to watch the game.
I don't drink beer. I go to see the Capitals. They have a great deal. It's bottomless popcorn, and if you buy a large Coke and a large popcorn, the popcorn's bottomless, and so is the Coke. So just go get refills. And I just sit there and I crush popcorn and I watch the Caps. I don't drink any beer. I get there for warm-ups. Like I'm in the stadium like an hour before the puck drops so I can watch warm-ups. Nice. So, and I don't. But baseball, I kind of do the same thing. I just sit there and watch the game.
That's right. I do that with baseball.
Yeah.
I want to sit somewhere. I always try and sit somewhere where I don't have to worry about a foul ball hitting me in the face because I might not always be looking at the field all the time, or even if I am, I'm still not fast enough to get out of the way. If that ball comes at me or a bat, I'm just not. So I'll sit somewhere. And keep in mind, I haven't been to a pro game in years because I can't stand going to Baltimore. But I'll ride down the road to Bowie in the minor league game. Mm-hmm. I'll sit behind that net.
You pay your $7.
I'll pay $7. I'll pay for the beers, popcorn, whatever. I don't care. It's just an enjoyable time.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna watch the game.
Yeah.
I have no desire to heckle a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah. The only games I get loud at would be Ravens. You know, it's just. I mean, the whole crowd's electric though. It kind of like
no, you can get in.
Like, I'll lose my voice. Like I'll come home and I won't have a voice because and when I would go to the game, I'd be in section 500. Right. I did not. I'm not a wealthy man. I don't sit down low, but I mean, I was at the stadium when, and I can't remember exactly when it happened, but we were playing the Patriots in the playoffs, and we were chanting BS. Are we allowed to? Can we cuss on? Can I say bullshit?
BS is fun. Bullshit's whatever.
Okay, bullshit. They were doing the defense, but instead of saying defense, the entire crowd was saying bullshit every time they should have said defense. And it was so loud that the announcers, it was Sunday Night Football, so it was I don't know who it was.
Collinsworth and who
anyway. Yeah. He said it's the loudest manure chant I've ever seen. And NBC actually got in trouble because they didn't bleep it out. They're like, how could we bleep it? It would just we would be bleeping the entire. But anyway,
it's like
they can turn down that volume.
It's like
they could, but they didn't
because they've done that before.
It was a terrible call. I think it was
Brandon.
2011 because it was when we lost. The Ravens ended up. But like I have never been in a situation where 74,000 people were literally all chanting bullshit at the referee. It wasn't at the other team.
But I think there's something different about that. That's not like a personal attack on a ref. I feel like that's like the entire stadium is chanting something together. It's not that offensive.
So if everyone's doing it, it's okay. But if it's just a couple people out in left field, it's no.
And not only they were doing it in unison,
it was magical.
In tune. I mean, come on now. No, I don't know. There
was some neat chants at M&T Bank. There was when Carson Palmer played for the
Bengals.
It was Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer is a piece of shit, and it was like the entire thing was going.
Alex doesn't like that because that's a personal attack.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, I actually have experienced this. When I played a sport in college, and I was a goalie. And I would let up some goals. And
which sport?
It was lacrosse.
Okay. I didn't know why we were being so secretive about it.
I don't know. And we were playing an away game.
Okay.
and a goal would get scored, and they would count the number. And
Yeah, I've seen that. Like,
so it was almost like the way they do in hockey, except in lacrosse you let up a lot more goals, so it kind of goes a little further.
no, you
along.
only let up a lot more goals if
If you're not that good, which I wasn't. Listen, man, I played on one of the worst Division I teams in the world
But you
out
played
there,
Division One lacrosse.
but it was really bad.
You played Division One lacrosse.
We got beat.
I don't
We
care.
got beat by a D3 team.
I don't say that part of the story.
Well, you know.
you played Division One
you're
lacrosse.
a
I'm
D1
just putting out
athlete.
the honesty.
D1.
There. Anyway, all right. So let's say there were 5 goals. They would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You suck.
Right.
You suck.
Well, University of Maryland fans.
And that was some college kid they were doing it.
Yeah, no, University of Maryland's. They have some terrible, like when they play the Hey song,
Yeah.
and they nah, hey, you suck.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they do that stuff, and it's
That's what sports is about.
I will say this though,
I'm sorry.
as the player on the receiving end of it though, I thought it was hilarious. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't happy because I was giving up some goals that game, but it was the first time I'd experienced something like that. Because I think I was a freshman. It was my first year.
There's got to be some game footage of this. It was a D1 school. They have to have some video.
It was back in the day, and it was not a good school. So the video was really light,
We'll see.
maybe black and white.
We'll see. I now have a mission.
we need Jamie to get on it.
Right, but no. So like I thought, like when it would happen, and that was just one of the places it happened. Like throughout that whole year, it happened quite a few times. And as a goalie, you're kind of like you kind of get more of it than most. But I always thought it was funny, and when they got really creative, that's when I kind of liked it the most because I was like, "That's a good one. I haven't heard that." When I hadn't heard one before, I thought it was like I would like laugh. Mm-hmm. Like I put my glove over my face mask so I could laugh and they wouldn't see it.
Well, when you talk to these athletes, they say they don't even hear it.
A lot of times you can't.
So
But baseball's so quiet.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
right. And
Yeah.
Football, the closest fans. If you think of, look at your typical NFL stadium, there is a big, kind of like, there's a zone between where the fans are and where the players are. Even on the bench, you're probably looking at, 50 feet between where the players are, and then the fans are sitting up; they're elevated. So then that adds even more distance. And it kind of goes the whole way around. It's not like hockey where there's a glass just separating it and then players actually get hit through the glass. Or basketball where players end up in the crowd trying to dive after a ball going out of bounds or something like that. So and baseball, like you said, which is so quiet. So, but even in hockey, like you had these players that were back in the 70s, like diving into the stands, and the Philadelphia Flyers like beating the crap out of people in the stands. Like that was old school.
There was so much less money. They had so little to lose.
Oh yeah, and then
They were getting like what $5,000 a season.
yeah, but those players were also
Had side jobs.
Yeah, and then they were also like in the locker room. Like these weren't.
Chugging beers in the locker
Yeah,
room
they
after the game.
like smoking cigarettes and drinking beer.
It was beer league hockey before beer league
Yeah.
hockey.
Okay,
It was. That's how it got handed down
Yeah.
to the beer leagues.
Can I just say something?
Ice hockey like 90 and above.
If you're not,
You're good.
if your save percentage in the NHL isn't like 92, you're kind of a scrub.
You think I would have
Yeah.
said 90?
Yeah, no. Every now and then you see a .89, but that's a scrub.
Oh yeah. Anytime it was under 90, I was like, guys get replaced next year.
Yeah. So, and I've always thought save percentage was the true save percentage is a goalie stat. Goals against average to me is a team stat.
The only reason why I say no to that is because if you've got a real porous defense, you might be seeing higher percentage shots as a goalie, which means you're not going to be able to save it as many of them because your defense is giving up the easier. Like, let's say, for example, your defense gives up one-timers real easily across ice, right? Mm-hmm. Those are hard saves because you got to go across the crease to make that save. I would say that goaltender is going to have a lower save percentage. And it's not really going to reflect how bad he is or how good he is because that defense was just that bad.
You know what? So, yeah, see, I always look at as a goalie, save percentage as the more accurate representation of that player's season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick a stat, right? Because that's probably the best one. But
Right.
I'm just saying how you can kind of poke a hole in that theory a little bit.
The types of shots and whether they're through screens. I mean, if you face 50 shots a game and they're all from the point and you can see every one of them, well, then you should have a very high save percentage.
But everyone's played with that dummy defenseman who doesn't know how to get out of the way so that you can see the ball or puck coming through, and they're always in the way and they duck out at the last minute. But the goal gets scored and it's on you. It's not on him.
But when I'm talking about these stats, I'm talking more at the NHL level. I'm not talking at like beer league or high school or anything like that.
I bet you there's some less than brave guys on the pro level that don't like to get hit with the puck.
I'm sure there are. But I think if you're overall, you're dealing with a much higher caliber.
Right. But what I'm saying is, let's say you got that high caliber defenseman, right? But his shins are done, so he's not going to lay down on the ice. And oh, by the way, he also didn't get out of the way so you can see it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like as a goaltender, you either get in front of it, or you want the defender to either get in front of it or get out of the way so you can see it.
Don't deflect it.
Right. Don't. Basically, there's no middle ground there.
Yeah.
Right. And I bet you there's some guys in the NHL, especially once you get later in the season, and you're just like, you know what? I don't want to take one tonight. But I also don't want to show that I don't want to take one tonight, so I'm gonna pretend like I do and then don't.
Yeah, but I think between the two big goalie stats, which are goals against average and save percentage, I still think that save percentage is the better barometer. It's not neither one are perfect.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
So because you could have dudes that play on, you could have guys that play on really good teams that don't have to be that good.
Mm-hmm. You have a good defense, right? Yeah.
Do you remember Ron Hextall? Ron Hextall would give up the shot from the blue line every once in a while, just like a pure brain fart. Mm-hmm. But he would make like the most amazing save one-on-one,
right?
That he should never ever get.
Had no business making that.
None. Save. But that was Ron Hextall though. Like someone would take a shot from like center ice, like clearing it in just to change lines, and he would let it in, and everyone's looking at him going, "Dude, what the heck? That's the easiest one on earth."
Yeah.
And then meanwhile they do the cross ice pass, and he'd do the straight splits and glove one down. Yeah. It was like, geez, in the same game, no less, right?
Right.
It's like, well, I owed you guys one. Sorry about that. But yeah, I guess. So going back to the fan behavior, I mean, and obviously we would be not. We wouldn't be doing this topic justice if we didn't talk about the Malice in the Palace, the basketball one, and that was when players actually went in the stands. I mean, like you said, hockey players have gone into the stands.
Yeah,
I mean, and everyone I mean, the Malice in the Palace lives in infamy, and it's probably close to 20 years old now. But those fans, I think, were like throwing stuff on the players because they were like. Basketball, man, they are right on top of them.
Well, that's like basketball. The players end up in the stands. Yeah. If they're going after a ball, trying to save a ball from going out of bounds, they'll end up in the stands. And that's probably the close, and also this playing surface compared to, it's the smallest of all the sports. So they're, the fans are there. It's inside. They're packed right on top of the court. Basketball also plays music during the play, which I always thought was weird.
That is strange. I figured that would affect communication.
Yeah,
on the court.
Yeah, football doesn't play? Well, they do the defense and all that stuff.
But they stop it
before the snap.
When the
they
team,
have to.
when the
Baseball's the same way.
Yeah.
The NBA is like the only sport
that
plays stuff during play.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's just not loud that they can't hear it on the court.
They can hear it on the court.
But it's not. But is it like super loud? Like I think they can hear themselves over the music at that level.
I don't know.
But can we talk about basketball for a minute?
As the only D1 player in the room, I'll defer to you on things like that.
Different sport, man. Different sport.
But you're still.
I will say this, though, as a fan, though, in the NBA, I got to say, it's got to be the only sport where if you sit in the front row, you have a higher chance of having a grown man's privates on your forehead if he has to jump into the stands to get a ball or something.
I've never connected those dots.
No, you really haven't. You haven't seen like whenever I see like a player like diving to like go get a ball, a wayward ball, and like they just trounce over like some 5'3" woman.
And that's the first thing you think of.
No, generally with the man, I think about like if you got to jump over Jack Nicklaus. I mean, how many times has Jack Nicklaus had like been getting
Junk in his face?
Yeah, just getting a little bit cleaning that dome of his with some tea bags.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Is that why you don't sit down there for NBA games?
You know what? That and, the cost has nothing to do with it. It's just I don't really want to.
You're afraid of the junk.
I don't want to be in the danger zone. But all joking aside, like, can you imagine like in the NBA, like if you sit in those first like 2-3 rows, you could literally get like just shoulder driven into your chin.
Well, then in the NBA, you really hear the players talking shit to each other too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas hockey's known for chirps.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just go back and forth, but you can't hear it because you don't hear a lot through the glass.
Right.
So, but in NBA, like those dudes are chirping, fans are chirping back and forth. Well, what's his name? The dude for was it Kyrie Irving? Is he the one? They got not maybe trouble, but told the fan to.
Yeah, but he was so that was in Boston though.
Yeah,
he was an ex-Celtic. I got to imagine the fans were up on his grill.
Yeah.
They had to have been because he did not make any friends when he left Boston.
Yeah,
so you're saying that's an excuse for him? Like
no, I'm not. But I am saying there's probably more that led up to that event. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that just kind of goes off like that.
How well do you know him?
We're buds. We're tight.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you play Division I sports as well.
Right. It's just one big group.
Well, I think every D1 there's like a club,
like a Facebook group or something.
It's like the Heisman House, only it's not.
Yeah. They get to go hang out with each other and exchange stories about irritating fans. And
that's right. But whenever you hear him, he seems like a very fairly cerebral dude. Now, don't get me wrong; he could have a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality, but I don't know. I think they would have had to have done. Plus, didn't he just flip him off? I mean, not that I condone flipping anyone off, but I mean, shoot, I've done worse in my car.
There was some sport just recently where the athlete gave the middle finger to the fans. I
think that was him, wasn't it?
I think it was. Was it baseball?
I think it was. It was.
Baseball's just getting all types of rowdy. People are pissed off about those negotiations, apparently, before the season.
Oh, there it was. So, Chicago White Sox guy, what's his name? I think it was Tim Anderson. He flipped the middle finger. First of all, he was suspended a game for flipping the middle finger. I mean, I don't know. Like, that is the most. If anything else, like the middle, like if whatever this Guardians guy is, right? Mm-hmm. If he would have just turned around and gave the fans the middle finger, I'd have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? Give it to them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, anyone listening at some point in time in their life has just flipped someone off, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe a little aggressively too. You know what I mean? You just
like kind of.
Like you just
from the shoulder,
you bring it up and you kind of shake it a little bit when it gets up to the top, right? Because you want them to know how intense you are about that. Fuck you, right? So I'd be okay with that. You see these players that they I don't know, it's just.
Speaking of suspensions, though, and I don't know if you guys saw this. I guess it was a JUCO baseball game. And this guy this one kid hits a home run, and he's jawing as he rounds the bases.
I saw this.
And this pitcher, so as he's rounding third, he's celebrating with his third base coach, and the pitcher sprints off the mound and puts a hit on him harder than a football hit I've ever seen.
It was like a Goldberg spear.
Yeah,
the dude apparently lost a tooth.
Oh wow!
Now here's the thing though. Both players though were suspended, so they recognize.
I don't agree with that.
Well, no, they recognize that the player that was at bat and hit the home run had apparently been taunting for most of the game.
Who cares?
And then was taunting as he was going around the base paths.
Who cares?
Because you can't do that.
Well, it says who.
But, okay.
You can't do what?
It says the rules of human beings.
No, it doesn't.
Because here's the thing. Remember,
it's competition.
Do you remember in another episode, one thing we talked about was lacking is people came back out of the COVID coffins? Decorum. Mm-hmm. Gone. Nobody knows how to act in public anymore.
Yeah, but we also talked about. I went on the rant about the taunting rule in the NFL, and they're throwing flags for taunting. I'm like, come on,
right?
Everyone's going soft.
They relax that a lot.
Meanwhile, you could get a flag for taunting, but you're allowed to rehearse a touchdown celebration.
Yeah, they didn't relax it for that kid in Pittsburgh that one night. I think that was egregious. Like the kid literally, he had a sack, got cut by the team he was playing, so he got a sack against his former team. He just looked at the other sideline, didn't even go past the hash mark. The ref flagged him for it. Yeah. It's like, come on, dude. That's what we're flagging. You're right. That part, don't get me wrong. That part I think is soft. There are parts of it that's like just went way too soft, but there's other parts of it where human beings got to remember how to human being. Mm-hmm. You know.
Okay, where do you stand on bat flips?
Huh?
Where do you stand on bat flips?
Arrogant, but I think if you bat flip, the pitcher has a perfect right to bean you the next time you're up to bat.
No.
That's the unwritten rules of baseball.
First off,
you show up a pitcher, you get one in the ear.
No, show up the pitcher. So when the pitcher strikes you out,
and pumps
he does a little fist bump.
Yeah.
You know, what can the batter do? Can the batter next time up throw his bat at the pitcher for showing him up?
Can hit a home run.
Right.
That'll show him up.
So you hit a home run, and let's just...
and then he bat flips, and then he gets it in the air again.
There's a Toronto Blue Jay, horrible guy. Baltimore hates him.
Sorry, you're just going to narrow it down to one guy?
Batista. He hit a home run in a playoff game. I think it ended the game. Don't quote me on it. But it was one of the most epic bat flips of all time. One of the greatest calls of all time from the announcers and the bat flip. That's not arrogant. But okay?
Was that a game winner, though?
Yeah, it does. I don't know.
Game winner's a little bit different.
Yeah, well, that's like in football. You know, if you sack a quarterback when you're down by 30,
it's different. If you,
don't flex.
But if you do it in the third inning and you're flipping your bat in the third inning, that's different than doing it in a walk-off.
If it gives you the lead, it ties the game up.
Listen, in the third inning, act like you've been there before.
Well, but
ninth inning, win the game, flip your bat.
But what about the chain pop and the jersey pop and all this other stuff that people do? Like,
I think it's all pointless. To be honest with you.
I love bat flips. Love it.
What about the sellies after goals in the NHL? Like, you know, when's is Alex Ovechkin?
This Alex is against them. This Alex is against them.
This Alex still thinks
he thinks that after a fantastic play, you should shake hands with your opponent. So that way they don't feel too bad.
Okay. Hyperbole much?
Well, I'm just saying.
Back to that one, huh?
Listen, I don't. Listen, we could go on an entire episode of unwritten rules and etiquette.
I mean, some of it is kind of like, I hate the choreographed touchdown celebrations. They're dumb.
Yeah, the choreographed ones are nice.
They put a camera in the end zone specifically for it. Every single interception. And it wasn't even a pick six, and they run down and they pose.
Yeah, I hate
again. I like we just act like you've been there.
Did they get rid of that camera this year? I don't think the camera. I think that camera was around when there was no fans. I
think that's when they introduced it.
Yeah, but I don't think it. There's always a cameraman down there that they run down. But during COVID, they had like a screen where the players could see themselves. It was like a selfie almost.
Yeah. I liked it for one season. Get rid of it the next season.
I don't like it at all. But the thing is, I'm not going to go like bat flips. I mean, sometimes bat flips look.
Come on. Yeah.
Okay. I still think if you bat flip in the third inning, in the sixth, you're probably going to get one up high and tight.
You should, man.
Why not?
Listen, I'm okay with pitchers throwing at batters if there's just like bad blood between the teams. You know, I don't know what a hard slide in the second, or something like that. But a bat flip. Listen, man, you don't want me to flip my bat. You know, don't throw
meatballs at me.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like there's aspects of the game where the opponent just is better and just triumphs over you, right? And they're going to celebrate when they do that. Okay, you shouldn't get your feelings hurt. Okay, just understand it. You sucked right there, and be better next time. But if a player does something dirty on the field, steps on an ankle of a player, you run into first, something, then next time they're up, crack them. Don't hit them in the head. Throw them somewhere in their body. Right, I don't like headshots, and well, I'm just saying
you don't want to make Gretzky's head bleed.
They're throwing these baseballs 80, 90, and 100 miles an hour. Right, you shouldn't be throwing at someone's head. Hit them in the ribs. They're gonna it's going to cause enough pain for them for the next day or two.
Well, all the armor these players wear on their sides.
Don't get, again, it could be a whole other episode of all this baseball crap. Don't get me started on baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem necessarily with the celebrations, as for like a bat flip, a celebration after a goal, football, spike the ball or whatever, run back to the huddle or go back to the sideline. I'm not a big fan of the celebrations and the defenses posing with the ball, especially when you're losing. Like you're losing, and now you're posing with the ball.
Yeah, you get, like I said,
and they all go down there.
Yeah, and it's like
come on,
it takes forever.
It does,
and then forever. Like the guy gets a sack, and they're down by 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and they're going crazy about it. Like unless that sack was like breaking some sort of record or getting you some sort of like incentive in your contract, like let's go. Like unless that sack like sealed the game for you or something like that, let's go.
Well, the funny part, it's only in one end zone. So let's say the interception happens like all the way at the other end of the field. If I'm that 350-pound D lineman, I was like, forget it. No, I'll see you guys back on the sideline. I'm good. You guys take that picture. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where you can put rules in place, but I don't think you can put rules in place to make them classy. Some of them just aren't going to be.
What was it? The rule, you can't really enforce rules for quote unquote morality. Yeah. Right. Again, you're not really going to put rules in place for people to, be human, to be okay human beings. I mean, there's always going to be the line that crosses from being an all right human to being a complete dirtbag. Mm-hmm. And everyone's line is different, obviously, because there's some people that are just dirtbags and they don't think they cross the line.
Right.
And I mean, if we want to talk about the original byline, which we never even touched on, was the sports parents. Now look, we've all just started our spring sports season. Mm-hmm. We got a baseball, a softball, or you got 3 baseball, I got 2 softball, you got 4 soccers, don't you?
Three soccers. 3.
And she not in it yet? Little girl?
She's doing dance.
Okay. People get rowdy at that?
I don't know.
Not yet. We have crazy dance moms.
It's not. Yeah, I don't know.
Yo, they made a whole show about that. Yeah. That's a different level. That's a different type of crazy.
That's where Honey Boo Boo and Mama June came in.
Yeah, that's a different level though. Shoot, I couldn't survive in that.
No,
that's why I'm glad I get eaten alive.
I don't have to go to dance.
I'm so lucky. I got 2 girls. I am dodging that bullet right now, and I'm hoping I keep dodging it.
Yeah,
because those women scare me.
The dance, gymnastics, equestrian, all out. Verboten.
Equestrian, I can't afford equestrian.
Yeah, I'd rather them.
It's economics.
I'd rather them learn how to fly airplanes. Yeah. Like, you want to ride horses? I'll buy you a motorcycle. How about that?
Listen, I can't. I'm just not gonna be able to afford polo, equestrian, jumping, horse, whatever. Where Snoop thought the horse was walking. I can't afford that.
It would be cheaper to buy them. Like, say they're 16. Mm-hmm. Cheaper to buy them, and I have boys. A GSXR 1000.
Yeah.
And pay the insurance on it, then deal with a stupid horse. Right. So, yeah, that's out.
I do wonder, I wonder if any one of us is going to have one of those crazy parent stories. I feel like we don't have too many of those around us. But I feel like we live in an area where some of the surrounding areas might.
Yeah, so, and also, like, my kids aren't playing travel, so it's kind of, we're just dealing with the local rec ball.
Do you see it much?
Not so, but we've only had one game. So I have one in T-ball. There's no crazy parents. That's just cute, take pictures, that sort of thing. The other one's a machine pitch. It's kind of like the one is playing like actual baseball, but I haven't had a parent that was that bad yet. So we'll wait to see what we get.
Is it... So, I coach my oldest son's team, and I may, as a coach, be falling into the category that you guys are describing.
You're the crazy sports parent.
But as from the coach's standpoint, like, I'm very animated. I'm yelling at the kids, giving them direction. If there's a call that I don't like, early on, I let the official know that I don't like it, but I kind of do it in like almost a comedic way. Like I try to, it's almost like breaking the ice, right? And this may not be the normal, but I'll say something, but almost in a joking manner. But then if it continues to go that way, my joking manner, especially if we're not being successful, if we're losing, right? Like so, like I'll start to get like I don't go out of my way to give them crap, but if I feel like we're not getting the fair shake, then I let the official know. When we have officials, by the way,
you let the official who's probably close to 16 years old and makes $20 a game.
I don't. If it's
you're letting him know what's what.
No, they're if it's I'm
giving that sophomore girl the business.
That's right.
The business.
It's always been adults.
Can't believe your parents let you live.
Okay, all right. You know what? I'm passionate. So
it's funny. So I'm
could cry yourself to sleep on your wee pillow.
So I'm coaching T-ball and I'm helping coach the 10U. So I'm more the I guess the Buck Showalter type, just sitting in the dugout spitting seeds and not really saying a whole lot, than I am the yelling, screaming, like, throwing chairs on the ice type of guy, or running out and I forget the manager who did it. He goes out, they're arguing with the umpire over a call at first base, and he picks up the base and takes it with him. They're kicking him out. He picks up the base.
Is that Lou Piniella? Yeah. I think that was him.
So this is my base. I'm leaving.
Lou Piniella and Hal McRae were two of the most entertaining managers to watch. I guess Billy Martin, for the older crowd, was in the same box of characters. But yeah, I'll be interested. Like, I know on the softball side, like, we didn't have any like crazy yelling type people, but there were definitely some like cringe moments where, as a group, they're doing something. We're just like, like I don't know if I ever told you, like, this one, and this was 8U softball, and so there's a lot of walks in 8U softball.
Yeah.
This one girl, she goes to first base, whatever, gets her walk. Next girl walks. The girl from first to second does a front somersault on her way to second. On her way to third, she does like 3 cartwheels. On the way home, throws her helmet in the air and starts doing backflips to home plate. And the parents are like, yeah, girl, you do it. And then like the same parents brought like the block rocker speaker, and they're doing walk-up music for each kid.
I mean, I like this team's vibe so far.
Listen, so the block rocker one, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a good idea.
So
I don't know if I do it though, but
so my oldest last year, they played in the championship for baseball, and I sent an email to both coaches saying, hey, I'm going to bring it to do the national anthem, and then I'm going to announce the kids. I said, if you both can get walk-up songs for all of your kids, I will match it to the lineup. I'll just pull it up on Apple Music and do it. And that didn't work. So the thing is, like, with that at the young age, if you do it for one, I was willing to do it for
both, yeah,
for our team and the other team,
right?
And so then the team was the Cubs. So our team wins, the Cubs win, and the other team was very. They were you could tell they were emotional about it. Some of the kids were crying and this and that. Okay, So the other coach, his wife made a whole bunch of water balloons. They went out into left field and had a water balloon fight and their after game snack. Well, the Cubs have their own song, so Go Cubs Go. So after they were done, like after everyone was the kids were happy and having fun, when our kids were gathering their gear up, I played Go Cubs Go on the thing. But I wasn't doing it while the other kids were crying.
Right.
Because they're little kids.
Is that like Go Pack Go? It's the same song?
No, it's I forget who wrote the song. I mean, it's an actual song.
Actually, I know you should have done, because they were the Cubs. You should have found the audio for Harry Carey. Yeah. Cubs win!
Yeah.
Cubs win!
But
See, but here's the thing. Everyone's doesn't want to like hurt people's feelings. Like it's everyone tiptoes around, but hey, the thing is those kids won a championship, right? Like they played hard, practiced hard, applied themselves, and they won. So the fact that you like even like hesitated or said, "Hey, I'm not going to play this song until like." Hey, guess what? Like, life's a bunch of this. Like, this is a learning situation for the kids that lost that game.
At the time, though, 8U?
I mean, what are you going to learn?
Here's the thing.
I'm not saying we got to rub in the face and have a ticker tape parade
I agree
in front of them and we carry them off the field.
We played the song. We just waited until they weren't
I agree with the way he did
anymore.
it. He just waited until they were in the outfield having water balloon fights. They were fine.
Yeah.
Like, the sting of the loss was gone for the other team. Yeah. He's still playing a song after they're out in the field. Everyone's okay now. Let's play the song. That's class. That's different. If he does it right as the kids crossing home plate.
So how long after
then it's kinda,
So how long? And I already know what your argument's going to be for this. How long after the game goes final in the Super Bowl should they wait before they start shooting confetti off the
You're talking grown men versus kids.
Okay, and I knew that was going to be. No, I knew that was going to be your thing. But so if they're adults, it's okay because adults can handle that.
No, I mean,
and how do you think adults can handle that? Because they learn as they grow up that hey, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
I don't know.
Sleeping
on that large pile of money probably helps too.
Yeah, you're not going to compare 8U to the NFL in the Super Bowl. Come on, man.
So what age is it okay to celebrate a win in front of other kids that have lost?
So no one said
what age? No, I mean if 8's too young, there's clearly an age because 27's okay, right? We're saying an adult.
It also depends on the celebration, though.
Okay, so what age?
If kids are
11,
if kids are huddling up, jumping around, they just won, they're jumping around. That's different. They're not saying. It's not like some specialized thing they're doing just to rub it in the face of the other kids.
So, but none of the kids put out a block rocker and played Go Cubs Go. We waited for that.
Right. Okay, so since you won't give me an answer, U9, U10.
It depends on what you're.
Stop me when it's okay.
But what kind of thing are you talking about?
Just celebrating immediately after the win.
They celebrated.
Yeah, they celebrated.
No, I
just
Go Cubs Go played immediately.
You just want to tear the soul out of an 8-year-old.
No, I'm not saying that.
I would say high school.
And you're coaching kids too, huh?
I mean, how often do you see baseball, right? Baseball's a perfect example of this, right? They win the World Series. What do they show all? Again, these are adults. That's the argument. But
you're going
the
back
other
to pro
team
sports.
sits in the dugout and watches.
No, they don't.
Right? Oh, yeah, they do.
Some of them do, but most of them don't.
Yeah, okay. There's a couple guys that are just there for the paycheck.
The NHL,
and the NHL, they're waiting for the handshakes. That's a little bit
that is different.
But
that's decorum, by the way.
At what age do we say it's okay for kids to start to learn that you're not going to win all the time? And there's things that happen when you lose.
I think there's a progression.
Someone bringing a block rocker to a rec baseball game.
Who brought that block rocker?
I did.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
But he waited. He used it appropriately.
Yeah.
Listen,
again, decorum.
U8 might be a little young, but
what are you 10U? You're breaking on the block rocker as the kids cross the home plate,
the pyrotechnics,
and you got the fireworks blazing.
Just saying, man, we are breeding. We are bringing kids up. We are bringing kids up that are just they're going to get more butthurt. Miles Straw. Okay, Miles Straw. He was shielded from bad things being said to him and all this stuff, and then he couldn't handle it, and he climbs the wall in the outfield. You're not connecting those dots. I'm connecting those dots.
So you're talking about a larger issue with the world. Are we raising soft men?
Well, soft times.
Right, soft
Breed
times.
Soft
Look, I agree with you to that point, but there's also a point where the kids are kids, and you don't rub it in their nose.
Yeah, see, but you also have a sportsmanship issue too.
Yeah, that's true. You got to
comes down to sportsmanship, and I'm not now high school. I think high school is fine because you've got stadiums and a bunch of fans, and there's a whole bunch more people happy.
So 14.
Sure.
Okay, so okay. So I finally got an answer. That's all I wanted.
I don't think there's a hard and fast.
And if you're saying high school, I'm okay with that answer.
I still think you have to have decorum about it, though. All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. Again, thank you to Port Tech Limited Wines and Spirits located in the Baydale Plaza in Arnold. The address is 1264 Baydale Drive, Arnold, Maryland, 21012. Phone number is 410-974-0800. Again, that's Port Tech Limited Wine and Spirits.
They still doing curbside?
I think they do.
Give them a call.
I think if you
don't
call
have to get out of
them,
your car.
Bring it right out to you. Your Bush Light.
Bush latte.
Latte.
Good stuff, right?
Sounds like coffee when you say it that way. Do they spell their light L-I-G-H-T or L-I-T?
Oh, stand by.
GHT.
Do we know if there's an actual difference if you name it L-I-G-H-T?
Well,
I don't know.
Like, is it supposed to be different? Or is it just a lighter color? Whereas L-I-T-E is less calories, maybe?
No, this has less calories than Miller Lite, which is L-I-T-E.
Yeah, well,
Has one less.
all right then.
Yeah, even has protein in case you're trying to get swole.
Well, listen, you can get your Bush Light at Portac Limited Wines and Spirits. Also, really nice selection of craft beers, maybe a little higher end on the spectrum there, plus nice selection of wine. Really good selection of liquor.
friendly staff too. Love those guys.
Oh, you know what? Every time I go in there, I'm like that indecisive beer buyer who like looks at the cabinet for like 15 minutes. And eventually, like, luckily, someone finally comes up and says, "Hey, man, what are you looking for?" And then he finally walks me through and ends up picking up a decent beer that I want. So I don't have to make that for whatever reason, that decision paralyzes the crap out of me. Because I'm always afraid of picking that 6-pack I'm just not going to like.
Well, see, that's why you got to buy. So when you're doing that, you have to buy a 6-pack that you trust.
Right.
And then some rando. And sometimes you skunk and you get, a really bad beer.
And you leave that in your fridge for when your friends come over.
And you give that to them.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Bush Light. Will it overtake the Baltimore Blonde as your house beer?
No.
No. What about Bush?
Bush, no.
No? Neither one. Baltimore Blonde still your go-to?
Baltimore Blonde is still my go-to. But this was $22 with tax for a 30-pack.
And you know what? That's value. Now, hold on. Josh, Bush Light, Coors Light, which one?
I'll be honest. That price point that Mike pointed out.
Yeah, it's tough to
I don't know. Like Isn't
Coors Light in that price point though? Come on now.
I mean, it's there. I got to be honest with you. I'm really enjoying this Bush Light. I mean, we've already been down this road before, but
we went down the Bush road. Bush Light, a little different.
It is.
And this is a special edition can that has a fish on it.
Oh.
I do like that.
This
can.
is the brewed for fishermen.
And we're not.
And for some reason, it specifically says largemouth bass on the side of the can.
Well, that's
not that I really needed to know that. I mean, I could see that.
And we're not doing the Bush.
But they could have written striped bass. You'd be like, "Oh, that's a striped bass."
They could have said fish, and I'd be like, "Yep, that's
They could
fish."
put crab. Like, it's not crab.
That wasn't crab. But listen, I am a Coors Light fan. It is the people's beer, as I've self-proclaimed. But Bush Light, I tell you what. I'd like to see Bush Light and Coors Light get in the ring together because...
And that might have to be the next one.
Well, I thought we were doing the heavies. So we do have a couple of announcements. One, please share this episode with a friend. Also, we're going to have some changes coming up in the near future. We're probably going to change the name of the podcast itself, change the website up.
We still have that in the focus groups. We're trying to see what...
The Dumb Idea podcast, it's not, apparently doesn't attract a lot of attention. So we're gonna probably put a couple names out there and see what we like. But thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Again, share with a friend. Share it on your Facebook page. Share it with your friends at home. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time.
See you.